Hey, how's it going, guys? Neve here, and if you've been subscribed for any amount of time now, you might know a little bit about my story and how I started 3 years ago back in 2017. Since then, I've obviously learned a ton of lessons and have changed the way I look at online business in general. And in this video, I want to share with you 7 things in particular that I wish I knew before I started, 3 years ago. And the goal of this video is to really help you avoid some of the mistakes that I've done and tell you about some of the things that I've learned along the journey. Now, I actually had a video that I made like this 2 years ago, basically a year and a half into my business, and it was named, 3 things I wish I knew before I started selling on Amazon. And in that video, since then, right, it's been like 2 years since then, I've actually changed some of my beliefs and some of the things that I actually think you should do. And on that same note, let's just dive into number 1, which is something I disagree with my previous self, my past self, which is I said in the past that you should just forget about, building a brand or a serious business. Just find a product that sells, pretty well and worry about making money in the next 6 months and then grow from there. Now, I've done that, for many, years now. And then I've also now recently realized that something that's actually a better alternative to that is to look at something for the long term. Now, that may seem, super obvious, but the truth is I think that it's much smarter to go after something that you may be even a little bit passionate about. Now, do I mean that you should, go and start a business in something that you're passionate about that has no, market or any promise? Probably not. But I do think that if you have some sort of interest in something, even if it's a little bit, in a market that does have some potential, then I think that's probably your better bet to go into, even if that market is making less money than maybe some random market you found on Amazon or started on an online business in some random market. I think if you look at any business out there, anything that's been around for a long time, they stay true to themselves and they do what they do for decades, right? And that's when you see true success. I feel like having a little bit of passion to what you're doing and where it's not just all about the money, and you want to make the best product just because you want to be the best, it will be a lot better for you, for the long term future. Instead of looking for something that's going to feed you for 6 months, I suggest look for something that's going to feed you for a lifetime. Number 2 might also be a little bit, common sense. But for myself, when I was first starting off, one of the biggest things that I wish I knew at the time was that you should reinvest, probably 100% of your profits back into your business for the first year. The reason I say this is because when I first started, I made a lot of money for me. I was a broke, college kid, dropped out of my 3rd year living with my parents. And for me to make, I was making like $30,000 plus per month within like the first month or 2 of my business. And that was a huge change for me. And not that I didn't have value for the money, I didn't realize that how important it was to reinvest the majority of your money back into your business. For me, it was crazy to have that kind of money, and I not that I blew it, like I wasn't stupid with it, but I could have been wiser with it by investing it into my business. Not to say that I didn't invest anything into my business, but I think that if I invested more, I would have been able to progress further because of that one, crucial year. It would have made everything else easier. So I think that that's a very important thing is if you are starting this business, don't think that you are going to be, making a ton of money in the first year, right? Like take that money that you make, even if you make a lot of money, reinvest it back in your business because you want to continue that growth and continue that momentum. And number 3, which is kind of still going on the same wave that we've been talking about, is that in business, there's always going to be ups and downs, right? I've been lucky enough to have been successful in multiple businesses, multiple brands, and one kind of crucial thing is that nothing ever continues on an upward trend. Nothing ever looks straight up or whatever way it is. It's not just going straight up. It's always going to be ups and then there's going to be downs and then ups and downs. As long as the overall trend is moving in this direction, or whatever the direction is, like, in the good direction, then everything is good. Because like I said, month to month, week to week, day to day, it's not like every day you're going to make more money or you're going to be more successful. There will be days where you make less money. There will be months where you make less money. And you need to understand that these are just the ebbs and flows of the way that the world works and the way that business works. Because anything that goes up, must come down to an extent, right? And so it's the same thing like the stock market or stocks, right? Stocks can keep going up, but then eventually they will go down. As long as it continues in the right direction, that's all that matters. Stay true to yourself, stay true to your vision and your purpose with this business, even through the ups and downs of it. It's normal. It's normal for it to be a little bit unstable. Nothing in life is completely stable. Now, we've gone through 3 of 7 for this video. If you've had any value from this, remember to hit the like button. It really helps the YouTube channel with the algorithm and the growth. It helps me spread my message more and help and reach more people. So I really do appreciate that. Also, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing if you like this kind of content and if you want to learn more about, Amazon FBA and how to build your online business. Number 4 is don't compare yourself to other people or other business owners. Only compare yourself to your previous self. Now, actually, I learned this lesson from kind of a story. So I'll tell you about how I kind of came to this conclusion. Again, it seems fairly common sense, but when you're in the thick of it, you don't really understand. So basically, there was this one guy I was following, and he had a really big business. He was making about $500,000 per month. And for myself, looking up at that, someone who's making that much money per month, it was kind of crazy. And I was not really I was kind of stressing myself out to work harder and work smarter and to make sure that I can get to, that level. And then I heard the person talking about how they're super stressed out with their business, and they, basically stressing because they're trying to grow their business and they're looking forward at the person who's making more than them and trying to get to their position. So there's another guy who's making $1 million a month or whatever it was, right? So there's me looking up at this person who's making more money and is more successful. And I was trying to, make more money and grow my business and thinking that, at that point, that person has no stresses. How can you be stressed or anything if you're making $500,000 per month? That's crazy, right? But then, talking to him and listening to him, he was stressing over making more money than somebody else or kind of getting to another level. And so I realized that this is a never-ending chase of trying to compare yourself to the next person. And you're never going to get anywhere with that. The truth is it's going to end up being, pretty miserable existence where you're always trying to, one up the next person or, get to the next level. And truthfully, that's not what life's about, right? You're going to drive yourself crazy doing that. And so I realized that there's no point for me to compare myself to this person. They may have different skills, they may have different, work that they've done, or there's just completely different things, right? And so compare yourself to yourself, and that's, one thing I learned is try to be better than your previous self. That's the only thing you can do, and that's the only thing you should be doing. Don't look at anyone else and don't think about anyone else. Again, it's going to be easier said than done, especially when you start seeing some success. You might get a little competitive, but again, that's just going to lead to, like I said, a pretty miserable existence. Number 5, this is literally me talking to my previous self, would be to realize that work isn't everything. That you're put on this planet for who knows what reason, but you're here for a very limited time in the grand scheme of things, and you want to be doing the things that are going to make you the happiest, and also try to impact. For myself, it's try to impact as many people's lives as I can and help as many people as I can, in the short amount of time that I have here. But working and, like drowning yourself in work just because you think, the hustle is worth, what it's all about. If you think Gary Vee and all that stuff, like that's awesome. That stuff's cool. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you've made or anything like that, because when you die, you can't take the money with you to the grave, right? So remember that this is, if you enjoy what you're doing, that's awesome. But remember that there's more to life than just business, and there's more to life than just working, until you just drive yourself crazy. So that's also a very, very important thing that, like I said, I wish I had known in the past, because there were points in my life where, I was working 10, 12, 14 hours a day of like hard work, right? Like, especially if you're an entrepreneur, about how the work that you do is like mentally exhausting. It's not necessarily super physically taxing or anything like that, but when you're using your brain and there's no real, there's no steps how to do it or anything like that, it's like it becomes very mentally taxing. And so that's something that I would tell myself, and also hopefully, pass that information on to you so you can, reevaluate a little bit. That doesn't mean that you don't have to work hard. It just means that realize that there's other things out there as well. Number 6 is never stop educating yourself. Never stop learning, because there's always things out there to learn. There's always things to know and to get better at, right? If you think that you are, hot shit, or that you are, like the smartest person out there or the best person out there, it's like you will be really surprised when that doesn't turn out to be the case. Now, this one in particular is not necessarily me talking to my previous self, because I think that I've always been someone who always looked to books and to mentors and to people who could teach me what I needed to learn. I always ask questions and try to understand things, why things are the way they are, and I never think that, like, let's say I'm the smartest person in the room or anything like that. But I know that a lot of people who go on this journey and see some level of success, they start to think that they're hot shit, and that they know everything, and that everything that they touch turns to gold, and they get a really rude awakening when that's not the case. So you need to remember to be humble and to always continue to learn and educate yourself and to improve every single day. So that's something I would recommend. Reading books a lot of the times, seeking out mentors and help when you need it, and just continuing to grow every day. And lastly, number 7 is persistence. Again, this isn't something that I've had too much issues with in the past myself, but I think that a lot of people do. What I mean by persistence is that, on this journey of any online business or any business in general, there's going to come a point where things don't go as smoothly as you expect them to be. It might be in the first month, it might be in the first week, it might be in the first year, right? At some point, it will happen. You will have roadblocks and obstacles, and it will be so easy just to give up and to say, you know what, never mind. This is not as easy as I thought it was. I don't know why you think any business or anything is easy, but if you've been duped into believing that by somebody on YouTube or anything like that, right? Any roadblock or obstacle can be an excuse to just give up. And one of the biggest things that I've learned is just that you need to be persistent. And persistence is the most important thing, I would say, in business completely. You don't have to be the smartest person. You don't have to be the hardest working person. You don't have to be, any of that. You just need to be persistent day in and day out. It's much better to do something, for an hour a day or 5 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day for, 20 years than it is to do something, 10 hours a day for a week, right? Like, you need to learn that this is for the long term, and continuing to be persistent in your goals and your dreams and what you want to accomplish is going to be key to whatever it is. So remember, there will be obstacles. If everything has gone smoothly so far, remember, things will get bumpy, and your level of success is directly proportionate to the amount of shit you have to go through, basically, is the easiest way to put it. So that's number 7. Now, we've gone over the 7 things I wish I knew before I started my online business. If you guys want to see how I would start off from scratch right now, right? If I had, everything taken away from me and I need to restart online business and get back to my, where I am now or even further ahead, leave a like down below. That's going to show me that you guys want to see that, and I'll put the video out as, ASAP. But we need to get 50 likes. Let's try to hit 50 likes in 24 hours. That will show me that you guys really want to see that, and I'll put that video out, put it together and send it out to you guys super quickly. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Remember to subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.